It was a typical evening at Iron Haven Gym, a place where sweat, determination, and a clanking of weights filled the air. But little did I know that my routine workout would soon turn into a spine-tingling encounter that would haunt my nights for years to come. The gym was known for its old and imposing building, complete with dimly lit corners and a perpetual chill that seemed to seep through the walls. I had heard stories from fellow gym-goers about strange occurrences, weights moving on their own and eerie whispers in the locker rooms, but I had dismissed them as mere superstitions. One evening, as I was finishing my last set of bench presses, I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. A shadowy figure standing in the darkest corner of the gym. It appeared to be a man, but his features were obscured by the shadows. I assumed it was just another gym member finishing their workout. But as I glanced back moments later, the figure was gone. I felt a chill run down my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. I decided to investigate. Thinking maybe someone had gotten hurt or needed assistance, I made my way to the locker rooms, the lights flickering ominously. The air grew colder with each step, and I could hear faint whispers echoing through the hallway. They were indistinct at first, like a distant murmur, but they grew louder and more sinister the closer I got to the locker rooms. As I pushed open the door, I was met with a scene straight out of a nightmare. Lockers stood open, their contents strewn across the floor, as if a powerful force had ransacked them. The whispers grew into eerie chants, and I realized they were coming from the showers. I cautiously approached the shower area, my heart pounding in my chest. The steam-filled room was suffused with an otherworldly glow, and I could see a figure standing beneath one of the shower heads. It was the same shadowy figure I had seen earlier, a spectral silhouette drenched in an eerie, pulsating light. I called out, but there was no response. The figure just stood there, as if trapped in some spectral ritual. And then, in a bone-chilling moment, it turned to face me, its eyes empty sockets devoid of life. I fled the gym in terror, my heart racing. I could still hear the whispers echoing in my mind, as if they were taunting me, mocking my disbelief. I would never return to Iron Haven Gym, haunted by the encounter and the realization that some places hold secrets that should never be uncovered. To this day, I wonder who or what that shadowy figure was and what dark history lay hidden within the gym's walls. It was a true gym horror story, a chilling reminder that even in the most ordinary of places, the supernatural can intrude and leave a lasting mark on those who dare to venture into the unknown. As a dedicated gym-goer, I had heard rumors about strange occurrences at Fit Life Fitness Center, but I was always the skeptical type. That skepticism would soon be shattered on one eerie evening, forever branding me with the memory of the gym's terrifying secret. Fit Life Fitness Center was an imposing structure, a converted warehouse with high ceilings and an industrial aesthetic that seemed like the perfect place to break a sweat. But from the moment I walked in that fateful night, I felt an uneasy presence in the air. My routine began as usual, the rhythmic sound of weights and the hum of treadmills filling the large echoing space. As I pushed through my workout, I couldn't help but notice a mirror at the back of the gym. A massive floor-to-ceiling mirror that seemed out of place. As I approached the mirror to check my form, I froze. My reflection remained still, but the reflection of someone, or something, else appeared behind me. A shadowy figure with piercing, hollow eyes stared back at me. I turned around, but there was no one there. I dismissed it as a trick of the light, attributing the eerie reflection to my tired mind. But as the weeks went by, I couldn't ignore the escalating strangeness. Gym equipment would move on its own, weights would clang together without explanation, and chilling whispers echoed through the empty corridors during late-night workouts. One evening, as I was alone in the gym's locker room, I heard the unmistakable sound of heavy breathing coming from one of the showers. The locker room was empty, and a sense of dread washed over me. I approached cautiously, my heart pounding, and as I pulled back the curtain, a gust of icy wind rushed past me, extinguishing the lights. In the darkness, I saw it, A spectral figure, wet and dripping, standing in the shower. It turned to me with a mournful expression, its eyes filled with sorrow. I stumbled back in terror, fumbling for my phone to use its flashlight. But when I turned it on, the figure was gone. That night, I delved into the gym's history, desperate for answers. It turned out that Fit Life Fitness Center had been built on the site of an old textile factory, where a tragic accident had claimed the lives of many workers. The gym's massive mirror was said to have been salvaged from that factory. I realized that the gym was haunted by the restless spirits of those who had perished in the factory, their presence lingering in the converted space. I could no longer deny the gym's terrifying secret. I left Fit Life Fitness Center that night, vowing never to return. The experience had left an indelible mark on my soul, a chilling reminder that some places held a history of suffering and a haunting presence that could not be explained by the rational mind. The gym had become a true gym horror story, one that would haunt my nights for years to come. Musclefed Gym was a place where the clanging of weights and the sounds of determined grunts were a daily symphony. I had always been drawn to the gym's gritty atmosphere, but I never expected that one routine workout would turn into a spine-tingling encounter that would forever haunt me. One cold, autumn evening, as I made my way to the gym, a sense of unease washed over me. It was as if the air itself had thickened with tension. I dismissed it as pre-workout jitters, but little did I know that the gym had a sinister secret waiting to be unveiled. I began my workout, focusing on the weights and trying to ignore the feeling of being watched. As I approached the rowing machine, I saw something out of the corner of my eye, a shadowy figure in the mirror. I turned, expecting to see another gym-goer, but the figure was gone. I continued my workout, my unease growing with each passing minute. The gym was nearly empty, with only a few scattered patrons. But every time I glanced in the mirror, I caught glimpses of the same shadowy figure, lurking just beyond my field of vision. As I moved to the free weights area, the atmosphere grew colder, and I could see my breath in the dimly lit gym. The weight plates on the rack began to rattle on their own, and I watched in horror as one of them lifted into the air and then slammed back onto the rack. I wasn't alone in my terror. Other gym-goers had also noticed the strange occurrences. Whispers of a haunting presence spread among us like wildfire. Some claimed to have heard eerie laughter echoing through the gym's empty corridors during late-night workouts. One evening, as I was alone in the locker room, I heard a soft, melodic humming coming from one of the shower stalls. The locker room was empty, and a feeling of dread washed over me. I approached cautiously, my heart pounding, and as I pulled back the curtain, the humming stopped abruptly. But what I saw sent a chill down my spine. A wet footprint on the tile floor, leading to the now empty shower stall. It was as if someone, or something, had been there only moments before. I delved into the gym's history and discovered that it had once been the site of a factory, where a tragic accident had claimed the lives of several workers. Musclefed Gym had been built on the very spot where the factory had once stood. I realized then that the gym was haunted by the restless spirits of those who had perished in the factory, their presence lingering in the converted space. I could no longer deny the gym's terrifying secret. I left Musclefed Gym that night, vowing never to return. The experience had left an indelible mark on my psyche, a chilling reminder that some places held a history of suffering and a haunting presence that could not be explained by the rational mind. The gym had become a true gym horror story, one that would haunt my nights for years to come.